Raising accurate awareness of Korea and promoting cultural exchanges are the goals of one online organization of both Korean and international members. For more on this entity, I have Kim Hyun-jong, youth researcher at the Voluntary Agency Network of Korea, here in the studio. Welcome, Hyun-jong.
Thank you for having us, Sunny.
I also have... Oh, go ahead. You were going to say something else?
No, it's just about thank you for having us here at
You
the
are
studio.
most welcome. Thank you for making the time to be with us.
Thank
I
you.
also have Curtis Feltner, an intern at the agency here in the studio as well. Good to have you with us, Curtis.
Yes, thank you so much for having us.
Right. I'll start with you, Hyun-jong, then. Let's begin with a few words from you about your organization and its work.
VANK is known as Voluntary Agency Network of Korea. In Korean, it's called BTS. And we've been established in 1999. And since then, we started as a pen pal site, but now we operate as a Korean agency, non-profit, non-government organization with about more than 150,000 Korean members and also more than 30,000 international members. Here involved in VANK, we learn about other cultures and we tell other people about Korean culture and we exchange through online and offline venues. And since then, being a VANK member is anybody can be a VANK member if you're interested in Korea, especially. So working here at VANK makes us to know more about us and the people that want to learn about Korea.
I see. Tell us a bit more about some of the activities you're involved in, the organization.
We're involved in many projects now, and we educate many students, Korean youths and teenagers and teens. For about 20 years it has been. We educate them into cyber diplomats and world changers, which are meant to tell Korea to the world and learn about the world.
I see. So it's a mutual, interactive base then. Curtis, now I hear you've been interning at VANK since September.
Yes.
Now do tell us a bit about your path into the organization.
Yes, so I started working at VANK as a part of a program that I'm participating in. It's called the Korean Flagship Program. It's a program run in collaboration with the U.S. State Department and the University of Wisconsin-Madison that aims to increase the amount of expert-level Korean speakers within the U.S. So as a part of that, I'm doing a year-long study abroad at Goryeo Korea University, as well as being partnered at an internship that's related to my field subject area. So I was partnered with VANK, and that's how I started working with them.
I see. I also hear that you have a Korean name. Could you tell us about that a bit?
Yes, I do. My Korean name is Bae Min-jae. The Min-jae part was just given to me by an exchange student at my university. She asked if I had a Korean name, and I said I haven't had the need for one yet, so no, and she just made one right there. And then the Pei is a similar sound to my last name in English, so I just attached that, and yes.
Very clever right there, Min-jae.
Thank you.
And Hyun-jong, what role do college interns like Curtis, Min-jae, play at VANK?
Oh, they do many things here at VANK. Unlike other interns in most of companies, we give them many chances. We provide them many chances. If they want to learn more about Korea, they could learn anytime here at VANK. They learn about Korean culture, Korean stuff, and then they write articles about Korea and post them on our official Facebook pages or so. And then they also have been making YouTube videos recently about how they have been doing and what they do here at VANK and what they are interested in about Korea.
I see. And as part of that, is it true, Curtis, Min-jae, that you're writing about Korea's unique coffee culture?
Yes, that's one of the articles that I'm writing as a part of my work with VANK. The coffee culture here is really everyday for a lot of people, so they don't realize how interesting it is. And I think as a foreigner, it's something that I immediately noticed coming here. The traditions of cafes and baristas, which are originally from France and Italy respectively, Korea's really taken those with extreme fervor and incorporated into their own culture while also adding a lot of different elements that are more fitting to Korean customers. For example, the menu they offer, as well as the aspect of cafes being a really important social space for both business and personal gatherings. I think that's super interesting.
Right, and when will we see this writing of yours online?
I just finished it. I'm doing some edits. Hopefully it should be up by this week or next week.
Okay, that's good to know. Curtis, Min-jae, what are some of the most common questions that your friends back home in the US have for you with regard to Korea?
Yeah, what I've seen a lot, especially after Squid Game has come out and become such a global phenomenon, is
And first of all, have you seen Squid Game?
Of course, I watched it right when it came out.
Right.
I heard a lot about it, so I had to.
And what part of Squid Game are you most interested in? Is it the food, the acting, the actors?
I think the performances were great, so I'm definitely excited for season 2 to see what the performances will be. Yeah,
Right.
that's what I'm most looking forward to.
Right, now going back to my other question then, what are some of the most common questions you do get?
So with Korean culture, obviously, we're Korean media, it's obviously made in Korean, and that's something that I think a lot of people have actually taken a sort of interest in. With Squid Game, for example, the 무궁화 꽃이 피었습니다, I've seen a lot of people online asking, what does that 씁니다 sound mean? I keep hearing it, as well as the usage of the words 사장님 throughout the show, some of the curses and insults also used throughout the show. That's something that even though people can't understand it, they are hearing it and they're attracted to the, I guess, linguistic difference, because Korean language is so unique to Korea. So that's been something that I've been getting a lot of questions about, and personally as someone with an interest in the Korean language, I've loved being able to answer those.
Right. I understand your Korean language skills are also quite good.
Oh, thank you.
How long have you been studying the language for?
I've actually been studying this is my 5th year, I believe. I started in high school studying by myself because
How did that start in high school?
Yeah, so I actually just found out about Korean culture online. I was on YouTube and I saw a video for Girls' Generation, and it just was interesting, and the whole music industry was so different from how the American industry works, and just the performances and costumes and music videos, I was kind of attracted by that, and I just decided, oh well, I mean, I like learning languages, so what if I just tried learning Korean? And then I entered in university and I started taking classes officially, and then I got involved with the flagship program, and now I am here.
And here you are. Right. Meanwhile, Hyunjung, staying with Squid Game, I believe one of your more recent campaigns is aimed at curbing the illegal distribution of this Korean drama over in China. Could you tell us a bit more about that?
We've been starting a global petition and global poster project online. It's because basically it has been about, in the past 5 years, China has been the largest illegal distributor of Korean culture. It has been said that we are trying to we are targeting the Chinese 2 government agencies who have the power to make people who have been illegally distributing Korean dramas or Korean culture to stop them and to punish them. So what we basically do at VANK is we try to promote what issues we have in Korea right now. So if a Korean person participates in our petition and shares the poster on one social media, other international friends would see and find it out and see that the Squid Game here, there's an issue with Korea and China, and they get to know what's going on, and they get to share the poster and petition with their friends, so that we're making a global impact. It's kind of small, but it makes it impact into our generation, so that people around the world get to know about what's happening in Korea.
Of course. On a more grave note, Hyunjung, there have been cases of cultural provocation, so to speak, from China, as it recently laid claim over Korea's kimchi and hanbok. How severe are such cases of false information?
I would say it's not just about hanbok and kimchi, Sunny, because there has been many claims by China, not just regarding hanbok and kimchi, but also gat, sam, and they even say the figure skater Kim Yeona and Son Heung-min, the soccer player, are from Chinese ancestors. Their ancestors were Chinese. We see that this is like a part of China's intention to interfere with Koreans' identities. And also there's another one that they would like to claim is that in order to put all those many minor races in China, to make them integrated into only become as Chinese. So they're using the market, the big market in China. But in this case, there's a law called Hanamyeong in Korea, which has been, in China, which has been, they are banning Korean culture, using the Korean culture, they've been banning it for years. But there's big market in China, so it seems like the Chinese government is trying to use the market and to integrate all the races, minor races in China.
Right, because, I mean, correcting misinformation about Korea or condemning disinformation about the country, of course, they can be made by those in the entertainment industry, of course, right?
It is right, yeah.
Right, and speaking about the entertainment industry, Minjae, Curtis, you mentioned Girls' Generation being one of your first favorite
Yes.
K-pop artist groups. Do you have any others?
These days, I've been getting a lot into the Korean indie and sort of rock scene. So I've been listening to Baekhyun and Janabi and a few other bands that are like that. I've seen recently a lot of Korean bands are starting to upload onto Spotify, which was the global platform I use now that it's launched in Korea. So I think that is another pathway that a lot of smaller Korean artists are going to be able to reach out to different people around the globe because it has such a large global user base.
Right. And speaking about reaching out to people across the globe, Curtis, what are your thoughts on the potential role that K-pop fans, perhaps, like yourselves, could play to raise better and accurate awareness of Korea?
I think that they play a huge role in the dissemination and the expansion or promotion of Korean culture worldwide. A lot of these people, they have formed these online fan communities on social media, and while spreading contents related to their favorite artist or singer or show or actor, they sort of unknowingly also share the parts of Korean culture that it's laced into those contents. Of course, those contents are made by Korean people. They are leaving in these references to traditions and culture that are ubiquitous to Korea, are well known in Korea, but are maybe unknown to a lot of people outside of the peninsula and the country. So I think, for example, I think Chuseok, I see a lot of artists, give Chuseok messages of saying Happy Chuseok to their Korean fans, and foreigner fans sees those and they learn about Chuseok and they learn about the history behind that. That's one example I think of the sort of implicit sharing of these, beyond pop culture, but these more traditional aspects of Korean culture being shared worldwide.
Right, a very valid point right there, Curtis. Hyunjong, how has the boost in Korea's standing on the international arena, meanwhile, affected the activities of your organization?
That's quite changed a lot in recent years because due to the COVID pandemic, many people couldn't visit Korea, so what they learn about Korea is just through online on the internet or social media channels. But that did a lot of things because if you get interested in Korea, you get to know about how they live, where they go, what they eat. They search on the internet, and one of our VANK pages have been going viral, I would say, on internet, so that many people who have had interest in Korea could find out activities set by VANK. So also like Korean schools, Korean language schools abroad have been contacting us about how can we join in VANK's program. So we have been using online platforms that provide video chat so that in wherever you are in this part of the globe, you can join our activities. Also, there's a funny thing about our global posters I've mentioned before, that even if we are sleeping right now, somewhere it's still sunny in, like, let's say New York, but even if we are sleeping, the poster is working. So like it's 24/7. The global poster works in the online. When it goes viral, we don't really need to know because you can use it in any social media channels at any time.
That's quite commendable. And Hyunjong, going back to what you said about people being able to join your organization from different parts of the world, for our viewers right at this moment, could you share with us a bit about the protocols involved in joining your organization?
If you mean about protocols, I would say if you have just interest in Korea, anyone could join. Because, as I've said in the first, there's about more than 180,000 people, 180,000 people involved in our organization. And there have been people who are not our members, but also if you have just interest in Korea, we could just search on our blogs, our homepages about Korea and about Korean culture, the food. We have almost everything about ourselves and about Korea. So.
I see, right. Curtis, Minjae, now you said your interest in Korea started way back in high school. Now that you are here in Korea, what can you share with us about your thoughts regarding the country before you arrived here and after you arrived here?
I think one thing that's been shocking is the sort of lack of difference almost. I guess coming here, I expected Korean culture to be so drastically different from America. And while that's certainly true in many different cases, I feel like I've also been just able to connect with a lot of Korean people just as like a sort of human to human basis while, with similar interests and, just kind of hanging out and talking. So I think that's something that's been I guess, a sort of revelation for me is a sort of, I guess, universality of certain parts of, I don't know, the human experience. Quite philosophical, but that's been something that has also sort of eased my entrance into the country, is that it's not that every single aspect of my life there's a sort of cultural block I have to get over. There's a lot of ways in which I'm similar, or I kind of understand already how that culture works, and I've been able to sort of navigate through it and with a lot more ease than maybe I expected.
Have you been able to navigate through Korean food?
Oh, absolutely. That's something that Korean food is, especially the region where I was living in the U.S., it's kind of hard to get access to. So coming to Seoul and well, of course, Korea is the world capital of Korean food, so I've been able to enjoy plenty of Korean food and things that not only are hard to find, but some things that you really can't even find in America. I've been able to enjoy here, and that's, as someone who has a passion for food and those sorts of aspects of culture, I've been really enjoying experiencing that.
Right, that is good to know. Hyunjong, another active campaign by Panka as we speak is the making and distributing of postcards, I understand, in English about Korean culture and its history. I'm assuming language now, especially English, plays a very important part in reaching out to people beyond national borders, right? Tell us a bit more.
Yeah. I brought some postcards here. It says Arirang here. So it's Arirang TV, so we brought Arirang. And we also have Kpop, the Korean title flags. And also we have a variety of Korean World Heritage postcards. I brought them here.
Oh, please show.
Okay, I will show.
You hold up the camera a little bit longer.
Here's serum, kimchi, of course.
And are the writings all in Korean or also in English? Then?
Yeah, and on the back it has the...
I
what
see,
you
in
see
English.
here, yeah, in English.
The explanation in English.
So the people who speak English, everybody speaks English these days, and it's important for us to let these postcards to be sent to other foreign countries. So basically what we do is that there are many volunteers, students who are going abroad to study or to travel or to volunteer. If they take them and they write postcards and send them to friends who are living there, so that the people who will receive these postcards will get to know about, what's Korea? What's about Korea? So this is basically the thing that we have been working on for more than 20 years. But I would say for today, the time has changed. Like Curtis, Minja here, many foreigners who have been interested in Korea now visit Korea, and they crave more for what they want to learn and what they want to know and what they want to enjoy. So if we get more members, international members, to join in our activities, and if they get to know more about Korea, they will be able to promote Korea and enjoy Korean culture all together.
Right, and he's here as part of a program that is supported, is it, by the US State Department, you were saying?
Yes.
Can we expect to see you working there, like, say, 10 or 20 years from now?
I certainly am considering this a possibility. I think knowing Korean, or getting my Korean to this sort of expertise level and having this experience, I think will set me up for a great future if I ever was able to go into sort of international relations. But I also just love all the different experiences of getting a completely different cultural perspective, and I think that is something that I could incorporate into anything that I go on to work in the future.
Right, and if VANK, and not VANK, of course, if Minjae, Curtis, does end up working within the political circle over in the US, your organization, that is Panka, would have played a very pivotal role in that.
Pardon?
Your organization, you would have played a very important role in setting up his path in the political circle over in the US, right?
Yeah, certainly, because there have been more than 10 years of experience with the language flagship program here at VANK. We have been cooperating with Korea University for about 10 years. So many students have been here and got back to their home country. And with those work they have learned, they now know about Korea. So they could be the people who actually have been promoting about Korea and what should be correctly or accurately known to the world about Korea.
I see.
So basically, if in their university years, if they have experience in Korea, it would be much more better for their future in like 20 or 30 years.
Right. One final question, Hyunjong. Let's end now with a bit on Punk's, I love the way you pronounce it as Panka, the Korean way. Punk's upcoming agenda amid the renewed global interest in Korea.
I would say our dreams are coming true, because back in the days, like just 10 years ago, nobody really knew about Korea. If I say I'm from Korea, they would say, is this now north or south? But these days, our dreams are coming true, as you know, the freedom fighter Kim Gu said. He said his dream is to have a very noble culture, so that the noble culture could be shared with all the people around the world. And what the culture does is it makes us happy and it gives happiness to others. So the goals, what we aim to do is now coming into reality.
All right. Hyunjung, thank you very much for your efforts and for your words today.
Thank
and
you.
Curtis, Pei Min-jae, thank you very much for your time as well.
Thank you so much.